The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhalls, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhall.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Get your money mind right here with Heather Wagenhalls and the maestro of Moola, Michael Terry, on Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I am she, your purveyor of prosperity, and the maestro of Moola, Michael Terry, and we are going to help you get your money mind right on today's episode with the following great features. Miguel?
Take emotion out of the picture, number 5.
Yes, indeedy. And if you are not familiar with this key, you must visit our website so you can get our Unlock Your Wealth live version of the Keys to Riches every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific on Facebook. But we also have them put up on the website for your convenience at unlockyourwealthradio.com. It's also on today's show page, so you can click over that way as well. We have an amazing guest today and a very cool Moola Word of the Day. Fred Creutzer is going to join us. He is a financial planner, and he's going to help us take and make sure that we have a good start to 2018 with his 4-step process. And then our Moola Word of the Day, as always, is pretty spectacular. By the way, if you didn't catch it, this week you can take a free workshop from my Unlock Your Wealth Foundation's core workshops. We are taking from Key 4, which was last week's key. Mm-hmm. In Key 4, we learn in our knowledge is power, not knowing is powerful key, we learn our 3-5 financial strategy. So if you would like to have an in-depth drill down just on that 3-5 financial strategy and how to set it up, please visit our website at unlockyourwealth.com/35. And that's written out THREEFIVE. So click on the link for 3-5 when you get to unlockyourwealth.com and join me for my free workshop, which we'll go into detail because we only have so much time. By the way, if you guys are readers, are you a reader, Miguel?
You know, I'm more of a video guy.
See, I'm a reader, but I can't always sit with a book, and with wearing glasses, it's a problem.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but I still want to read 3 to 4 books a week.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm hungry. That's my pastime. I don't watch TV. I read.
Well, you got the audiobooks, right?
Exactly. I don't need my glasses. And that's why it's so exciting to have audible.com as a show sponsor. So for those of you who are interested in a free audiobook complimentary, you can visit audibletrial.com/ Unlock Your Wealth, and they will give you a free audiobook just for being a listener of this show. And you can choose from over 150,000 titles for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So be sure to check out the audibletrial.com/ Unlock Your Wealth. And guess what? I got a book in there. And you can read my book.
Yeah, that's right.
Or I'd recommend that you get Atlas Shrugged. I mean, I think my book is great, but Atlas Shrugged, there's a bigger value there because that's I think it's 56 hours.
That's your Bible, baby.
That is the core of who I am. I am Dagny Taggart for sure. But let's get moving, shall we, with the rest of the show. It is the Moola Word of the Day. So, have you ever heard of the term going public?
I've heard going public, yeah.
All right, and what do you think that means?
Well, it means that your stock is now available to the public.
That is correct. And so it's traded on an exchange, but it also has other requirements. And specifically, those requirements are why people do today's Moola Word of the Day, and that is going private. Going private is the repurchasing of all of a company's outstanding stock by employees or a private investor. As a result of such an initiative, the company stops being publicly traded. Sometimes the company might have to take on significant debt debt to finance the change in ownership structure. Companies might want to go private in order to restructure their businesses when they feel that the process might affect their stock prices poorly in the short run, which has happened. You know, people take some write-downs and your stock goes from $52 to $2 overnight because of the shorts against you.
Wow.
And that happened to my husband when he had to take some write-downs. Plus, the bar is also higher when you're a public company. And they might also want to go private to avoid the expense and regulations associated with remaining listed on a stock exchange. So it is the opposite of going public. And for example, when my husband sold his company Action Performance, that's what they did. Two parties came together to buy all of the stock and take the company private. You know, so that's an example of why you would do that. You know, I mean, you have to do quarterly stuff, you have to do projections, and not that every company doesn't do that, but if you don't make your projections, and for no particular reason, you know, not that, you know, there are other circumstances that are beyond people's control, like, you know, your suppliers. You know, if something happens in your supply chain and you miss an ingredient in your mix, that can hold up production, and if that holds up production, that holds up delivery of goods, and that means you didn't sell as much. Even though you sold it to the buyers, the public didn't get to take delivery of it. And so that's an issue for people. And it's a tough place to be in, truly, because, you know, your value of your company is so subjective because you got two types of people analyzing your stock. You got the technical analysts that just watch the trades and the swing of the trades and the volume of the trades every day, you know, and then you have your people that analyze things from a fundamental place, which is how the company is actually performing. And so the numbers don't always tell the story. The data, it can be interpreted many different ways. The data doesn't lie, but the interpretation may skew what's actually going on. He was a fundamental investor. He knew that there was a story behind the write-downs. It wasn't that the company was struggling. It's that the potential buyers asked them to write it down. And so, you know, so there's a lot of that monkeying around in the marketplace that when you go private, if you take a public company private, it'll help you deal with that stuff. You know, so if you have to take write-downs, for example, and you did it while you were private, you know, nobody's going to know about it because it's not publicly traded, so it's not publicly recorded. The information doesn't have to be out there. Sure, it's reported when you do your tax filings, but it's not as newsworthy.
It'd be really good, maybe for the listeners, and definitely for me, to you use the word write down quite a bit.
Okay, so that's a term when you know, write down or write off, and it's a term that everybody does with losses. You know, on your taxes. You know, like let's say you started a business, and it might be a public corporation, but let's say you started a business and employees stole from you, or you lost customers or whatever, or you know your expenses outweighed your profits, so you have losses, and so you write that off. You know, so.
Gotcha.
That's it. And I guess I should probably circle back. I really didn't talk about today's key. We just introduced it, sort of. But if you want to know the full scoop on Take Emotion Out of the Picture, it teaches you how to focus yourself on the being passionate about earning money, but being impartial when investing money. So it's all about keeping your passions in perspective. You want to be excited about making money and not so excited when it comes to spending or investing it. So we make better decisions. So if you want to learn more about this week's key, then you need to visit the website at unlockyourwealthradio.com and check out our Unlock Your Wealth live show.
Cool.
So any other questions, or did I throw out any other terms?
I think you're good. I mean, you basically you use the word write down, and I'm used to the word write off. It's just semantics. That's all.
Right. You know, and that's the one thing that drove me nuts about both the investment industry and when I was in mortgages, because there's 80 ways to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Qualifying in mortgages, for example, you have a front-end ratio and a back-end ratio. The front-end ratio is also known as your housing ratio. That is your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and homeowners association fees. You know, the back-end or total debt ratio, that is the housing ratio plus any credit card debt, car payments, you know, additional mortgages, not your primary residence. It also includes alimony, child support, separate maintenance payments that are outgoing. It's but there's or it could be considered top and bottom. So you got front end, back end, top, bottom, or housing and total debt. It's kind of a crazy deal. In any case, you have to figure out, all right, how much do I spend every month towards housing, regardless of whether you're going to call it housing top or front.
Right.
And then what do I spend completely, which is housing plus other expenses like that are payments that you're committed to, like credit cards, car payments, that sort of stuff, plus alimony, child support, separate maintenance going out.
Yep.
So that's what we have.
Cool.
But let's get to our guest, shall we? Because I'm really excited about how to get a good start here in 2018, especially because now, we're into February.
Yeah.
And now that we're into February, the question becomes, of the people that made New Year's resolutions, do you know how many have kept them?
Maybe 10%, 20%?
You were really close. 12%. 12%. So if you have fallen into that 88%, perhaps there's another way to look at things. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
There might be a better strategy out there. And Fred Creutzer is the owner of Creutzer Financial Services in Baltimore, Maryland. And he helps clients achieve their retirement lifestyle of their dreams. Not just the meager dog food, eating existence, but the actual retirement lifestyle of their dreams. And he provides those people who are entering retirement or who have already retired with personalized programs that cares about protecting their retirement Let's do that again. And provides those who are entering retirement or who have already retired with a personalized program that cares about protecting their retirement assets. So there's some financial housekeeping items that we should be aware of, and we're going to talk with Fred to figure out what we need to be paying attention to, because there are also some things that we may not know about when it comes to IRAs. So Fred's going to share that with us. So Fred, welcome to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Glad I'm able to be here and have a little chat with you folks.
So now that we are at the end of the first month of the year, and a majority of folks have already broken their New Year's resolutions, tell us why people have so much trouble sticking to them.
Well, it's like anything else. I think it takes 6 weeks before anything actually becomes a habit, and good things happen that way as well. And, when it comes to 401ks and it comes to savings, it's creating that habit. One of the things that we notice is, and when the new year starts, we always encourage our clients, if they had any life changes, to make sure that they've updated little things, their 401k beneficiary, their life insurance. Have we had have we got married in there? Has somebody passed away? Are we divorced? It's shockingly, though, Heather, how many people forget to do that. 5 years later, something happens to a spouse, and we leave monies to the ex-spouse. So, making sure we stay on top of all our relevant things is really a good thing.
No question there. So is this something we should tackle all at once, or is there a strategy to start addressing all of these financial issues that have arisen, or just kind of to do our review and revise of the past year? Do we want to
obviously say to anybody, do it all in one day? It's not going to happen, Heather. So the best thing to do is do a strategy. Maybe this week or this month, I'm going to tackle reviewing my life insurance, making sure everything's updated. Maybe the following month, if you have a financial advisor, make that appointment. The stock market's been absolutely fantastic. Is it maybe time to readjust our portfolio because the stock market is doing so well that maybe we don't want it to get our heads chopped off if it goes the other way? So each month, maybe you put a little something out there and you change it up.
Gotcha. So when it comes to budgeting, that's, for me, I think of a budget as a bad word because it infers leaving things out. But how do you evaluate, or how do you recommend that your clients and listeners evaluate their budgets?
Well, how do you evaluate someone's budget? Obviously, is we want to try to get the best we can. How much money's coming into the household. And of course, we got to do that on after-tax dollars, not pre-tax dollars. Not your gross pays. What do you walk home with? What do we have at the end of the week? What do we have at the end of the month? And then what are our bills going out? How much real play money do we have each month? And that's really where the budget always starts. We got to know what we have, because what we don't want to do, and the worst thing anybody can do, is create debt through credit cards, because they love charging at 18 to 21%. And if you're paying minimum payments, all you're doing is giving the credit cards a lot of money, and you're getting farther and farther behind. So really look at your budget. You can fake yourself, but you really can't. You know what the numbers are, so husband and wife should really sit down together and know what they're doing.
Gotcha. So when it comes to either limiting our spending or it comes to beginning a savings program, do we want to wait till we can knock off big chunks at a time? Or would you advise starting smaller?
Absolutely not. I don't care if you're 25 years old, Heather. If, somebody can't say to me that they can't put away, $20 out of a paycheck to put into their 401k. You got to create the habits. A big saying we have in our office here is millionaires are not made in their 50s and 60s. Millionaires are made in their 20s and 30s. What we mean by that is creating that habit of getting that compound. So think about a nice ski mountain out in Utah, and you say, boy, look, it's a beautiful hill, but look how high the hill is. Well, you pick up momentum going down the hill. Well, that's a 20, 30-year-old. They got 30, 40 years to compound that money. So waiting until you can, quote unquote, put more away, you're not creating the system, you're not creating the habit.
Well, and we're also losing out on the power of the compound. Effect. And that's
the most powerful thing out there. But another big thing that we see out there that, and a lot of times different institutions don't educate our clients about, and that's understanding the ramifications of something happens to us when we're holding a 401k, we're holding a TSP or a 403b. And a big question we ask at a lot of workshops that we teach are, how many of you have been educated about a stretch IRA? Now, how often do you hear that asked, Heather?
I don't know that I have heard that asked, but let's hold that thought, Fred. You are listening to Fred Creutzer on Unlock Your Wealth Radio, and this segment is sponsored in part by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown with their special offer for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners. Just visit our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com/KeepMyID and click on the link to start protecting your financial future right now. So, yes, Fred, tell us, what is a stretch IRA? What do we mean by that? Yeah, and Michael's been around the retirement world. He's older than I am. So
yeah, that's an amazing question when we ask this. It's called an inherited IRA. We call it stretch IRA in our business, but it's been around since the year 2001. And what happens customarily, if you have money in a 401k and you pass away, you can pass that money over to your spouse. It's a spousal transfer. It's a non-tax issue. The question is, What happens to mom and dad die? What happens to the 401k, to the big 403b, TSP? Is this a lump sum payment out generally to the beneficiary? The 401k provider does not work with the next generation. So think about it. Mom and dad have stayed their whole life. They got money in a 401k. They got 2 kids. They got $200,000 in that account. They pass away. Heather, that means each of them children are going to inherit $100,000. Well, that's ordinary income, which means what have we just done to the children's tax bracket?
We ruined it.
you just threw them up in probably a very high tax bracket. Well, the purpose of putting money into the 401k was for tax savings. But if we give it to our children this way, they get a big tax bill. So the option is even when you're over 59 and a half, even though you're employed with the employer, most of them allow you to do an in-service withdrawal into an IRA. Why do I want to do that? Well, if mom and dad pass and they own an IRA, the children can come in with any financial professional and say, I would like just a minimum distribution on mom and dad's IRA. The key is it must stay in the last, whoever passed away last, mom and dad's name. It stays in their name forever. The kids cannot put into their IRA, or it's a taxable event. So any change of ownership is 100% taxable. give you a quick story. My uncle died in 2005. I was left $82,000. Did not want to add that to my income in the year 2005. I'm in my working years. I had to take a minimum distribution every year. Since 2005, 12 years later, I've withdrawn over $25,000. But the beauty is, Heather, that account today is worth over $99,000.
Wow.
So the story is if you're a farmer and you're out there in Minnesota, what's more important, the hen or the eggs? So if I keep the hen fat, it'll lay eggs for me for a long, long time.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
And the best story is this. I had a gentleman who flew up here to Maryland from Texas. His mom passed away. He was a big baseball player. His mom died in June of that year, and we did the stretch IRA and inherited IRA for him. Well, he calls me up in December. He says, Fred, you're not going to believe what I got in the mail. I said, what'd you get, Big Mike? He says, well, I got a minimum distribution check, but Fred, you didn't tell me how the check would come. And I go, come back with that, Mike. He says, well, it's got Mom's name on it. What I forgot to tell him is every year when he gets his minimum distribution check, it has his name beneficiary, but it has his mom as the deceased. He shared with me, he says, Fred, it's like Mom's still looking after us. Every year he gets a reminder that his mom was smart enough to put it into an IRA account so he could stretch that out over his lifetime.
So help me understand this. Do the parents, before they pass, convert their 401ks into IRAs? Is that when this happens?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. So it was already placed in an IRA. And it doesn't matter, Heather, if the IRA is at a bank account, if it's at a financial institution, they all have the capabilities to be stretched. The key is making sure you're working with a financial professional who understands when he sits with the kids how to explain the options that are available. The minute a child takes that money in their hand, it cannot be reversed. You can't then come back and say, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. I want to put it now into that inherited IRA, stretch IRA. It's got to be done at the time of death when we fill out the paperwork for the beneficiaries.
Okay. Here's the next question. So what if you have siblings that don't agree? One wants the money now. And
that's the beauty. So if I left 50% to one and 50% to the other, they both could do two individual actions. One can say, Fred, I'm going to take the whole lump sum and I'm going to buy a Cadillac. The other one can say, no, I want to protect my head and I want to lay eggs for the next 20 years. They could do whatever they want to do individually.
But because the decedent was over the age required for the distributions, that they're going to be collecting those payments. Is that why there's the minimum requirement?
If mom and dad both died at 55 years of age, before they even got to that age, and you're the recipient as the beneficiary, as long as you take a minimum distribution, you're satisfying. And that's for the secondary person. It's not for the person. It's for the secondary that they have options.
Okay. So
you want to give options to the kids so that they have that choice. So if one of them is truly in need of it, Heather, like you mentioned, they need to pull some money out. It might pull them out of a jam. They have the capability.
I need a Ferrari right now.
I'm sorry?
I said, I need a Ferrari right now.
We all like a Ferrari, but do we need a Ferrari?
Well, the question is, here's how I'm looking at it. Okay, so I'm a few fries short of a Happy Meal. I'm saying I could have a Ferrari now, or I could leave it for 20 years and I could have a Bugatti Veyron later.
Yep, or you could have a beach house. Let that help you towards a beach house, maybe.
There you go.
You could have a lake house down there in Minnesota.
There you go. So, so it's very curious because I wasn't aware, and I was a financial planner for a while too. So I never, but then again, I didn't really have anybody pass with those issues either. So I wasn't aware that was available. So it's very curious to me how this all comes out. So it doesn't matter what the parents do as long or when they die, as long as they've converted 401ks or other type of investments into a standard IRA. Does it matter if it's Roth or not?
That's correct. A Roth IRA is 100% tax-free. So it has no bearings on it. Now, if it is in a 401k when someone passes away, there is a way to do that, but it's much more complicated with a lot more steps.
Because dead people
That's
can't
why we
sign
encourage
paperwork.
people when they are over the age of 59 and a half, if they've accrued a sizable amount in their 401k, that's a good time to move that into an IRA, just for them different precautions. Plus, on the outside, many more investment options than there is in somebody's 401k.
So what is the standard minimum deduction?
Well, it starts at age 70 and a half, and it's a dividing factor based on what we call life expectancy. At year 70 and a half, you divide it, your whatever amount you have on December 31st of the year prior to that age, and whatever that is, you divide by 27.4. That tells me what you need to take out. Now, the very next year, Heather, that percentage changes. So the dividing factor changes because our life expectancy gets shorter. By the time you're 78, you're pulling out about 5%.
Okay.
But hopefully, if you're making that, you're only pulling out interest at that point in time anyhow.
Right. And the rest of it's still left to do its compound
Yes,
magic.
ma'am. And
To
that's a
take me
big
from
thing
a
today
Ferrari
is-
to a Veyron, because that's about
Well,
300,000 versus 2 million.
Well, I'll tell you what, the distribution of wealth at someone's senior age has become a very big part of our society today. You know, with kids struggling, this next generation is not having pensions. We're not sure we can rely on Social Security. In fact, if anybody looks at their Social Security statement, it tells you that they're going to reduce the benefits from $100 to 77 cents on the dollar in the year of 2034.
Yeah.
So every statement, when you get that in the mail from Social Security, they're telling you by the year 2034, they can only pay 77 cents on the dollar. So we are so in need of the passing of money wisely so that we do pay IRS before we pay our children.
Right. Yeah. Because Uncle Sam will do whatever he can to get you.
Oh, absolutely. There's a
80
lot
days from
of
Sunday.
mouths to feed out there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's really, it's a terrible thing, especially because, what a shame it is for these baby boomers and these retirees. I mean, we still have some, greatest generation around with us, and that they're dipping into their lifestyle, because that's what it is when they dip into retirement. They're dipping into their lifestyle to support the younger kids. I'm lucky, I guess, because when I get around that retirement age, I got all these millennials, which is one of the largest generations ever, that they're going to just, I won't have to worry about people paying into the system when I retire. But, do I want to count on that? No. I mean, as I'm looking at this, I expect to live well past 100, and so as a result of that, I have to be a millionaire. I mean, people have to be millionaires before they retire, because if they retire at this standard age of 65, 70, they're going to live for another 30, 40 years.
Absolutely. And we encourage people to delay their Social Security as long as possible, because if you take it out at 62, you're only going to get 75% of what your benefit would be at 66 or 67. But more importantly, what if you live to age 85?
I know.
That's not going to keep pace with inflation.
My mom's almost there, and she took it as soon as she could.
And it's like fool's gold. They're waving in front of you, and you're saying, I've always wanted that Social Security.
Yeah.
But at what price are you really taking that Social Security long term?
Oh, her children subsidize her. That's the price.
Yes. It's
because
fool's
she can't
gold
pay for
when
anything
they
with
get
it.
to you early.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. If folks want to learn more about this stretch IRA, or are just interested in generally getting on track for their financial future with your multi-step program that you shared with us today, how do folks find you, Fred?
Well, they can find me on my website at Creutzer Financial. That's CREUT as in Tom, Z as in zebra, ER financial.com. And they can give us a call here at the office at area code 410 879-3888. Happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of today's show. And for those of you who are driving around without a pencil, never fear. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is here, where you can visit our show page, get Fred's linky links, and so much more. For the maestro of Moola, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2018 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.